Hello, I'm Richard Hooper, and this is SatTV. Now, I'm pleased to be joined by Doreet Oren, Senior Director of Solution and Product Marketing and Corporate Communications at Gilat Satellite Networks. Doreet, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much. Happy to be talking to you again.
Now, the satellite communication industry is going through a transformation. How is Gilat addressing this change?
Well, actually, Gilat Satellite Networks is heavily involved in this new transformation, and we're calling it the new elastic space era. And we're really addressing this market in 4 different dimensions that revolve around elasticity. The first dimension is the multi-orbit constellations and very high throughput satellites. So in addition to GEO, it's also LEO and MEO, together with the very high throughput satellites. And this will increase the capacity to tens of terabits per second that are expected to be coming over the next years. Now, this is a fantastic increase in orders of magnitude of capacity in space, which of course reduces the cost and opens opportunities for new applications. So this is a very dramatic change, and this is only the first dimension out of 4 that we have defined for the elastic space era. The second dimension is that the satellites are getting smarter. They're called software-defined satellites, or digital satellites, if you will. This is a huge change as well, maybe the biggest change in the industry from the space segment point of view. We're not talking about a bent pipe anymore. We're talking about satellites that know how to adjust to changing conditions. So you no longer need a design to peak usage, and this is a huge advantage. And I'll talk about it probably later as we talk about what is required from the ground segment in response. But when we talk about this new era of satellite communication, it's all about the software-defined satellites, the multi-orbit and very high throughput satellites. And the third dimension is a cloud-based ecosystem. And this is extremely important as well. We're looking here at virtual systems to improve efficiency. The systems are mostly software now and less hardware-centric. The idea here is to use the resource only as needed. And this is really all about the demand-based scalability, which is very important in this new era. The fourth dimension needed for elasticity is the access key. And here too, it is extremely important to be able to address the dynamic changes in the network. We're talking here again about elasticity and an efficient use of the satellite resource. And I'd like to maybe give an example. You have some applications that are very high throughput and data intensive, like cellular backhaul or mission critical enterprise applications. And on the other hand, you have low throughput applications such as IoT. So you need to be able to dynamically adapt to change between them, and not only between the different vertical markets, but also within an application as requirements change. And of course, also to adapt to the physical weather conditions. So an elastic access scheme is a must in this new era, in this new elastic space era. So to summarize, really involved, and we continue to develop and enhance on these 4 dimensions, even though we've of course already offered to the market our flagship product SkyEdge 4.
Gilat's ground segment platform SkyEdge 4 was launched last year at Satellite. How has it been received in the market?
Well, excellent acceptance. As a matter of fact, I can't imagine a better acceptance. You know, I've been in the high-tech industry in this company for 10 years and in other companies, and I've launched many products, but I've never seen such reception. And I'm not surprised because SkyEdge 4 was built around this elastic era. So it's very much ready for this new era. And we've seen many operators choose Gilat for their ground segment, and I can mention 3. The first is SES for the O3b mPOWER and their SES-17 very high throughput satellite. And I'd like to mention in that respect that we're first to market with a multi-orbit service on MEO, the constellation, and GEO. The second example I can give of acceptance in the market is Intelsat that chose SkyEdge 4 for IS-40E, their high throughput satellite. And here This is about strengthening their service of IFC and cellular backhaul over North America. And the third success is with Hispasat for their Amazonas Nexus, very flexible and adaptable satellite. And we will enhance their ability to provide service for fixed and mobility services. But Richard, it's not only that operators chose SkyEdge IV. The point I want to make is that we're now deployed and proven in over 20 gateways worldwide. And the other important point about success is that we're continuously receiving follow-on orders, tens of millions of dollars from the operator to increase their presence with SkyEdge IV. So yes, I would say this is a fantastic reception. And this is because again, as I said in the beginning, the new era requires really an architecture that is set out to meet this elasticity. As we spoke about, just I mentioned before, about these 4 dimensions. If we're talking about NGSO and GEO, it's seamless switchover between them. If it's a software-defined satellite, it's to work in harmony with the satellites. It's extremely important that the ground segment be re-architected to be able to take advantage of that. And the cloud, of course, is critical. And for the access scheme, we've developed an Elastic Access that allows also Elastic SCPC and also TDMA. And to sum up, I would say that, of course, on top of all of this is a very, very close working relationship with our partners. And this is what is really important, that we define and implement these requirements together. And these relationships are key. I want to say they're just as important as the superiority in technology.
Mobility is a strategic market for Gilat and is one of the markets that was hit heavily during the pandemic. Do you see a recovery in Gilat's business?
Yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact, IFC not only recovered, but it's growing. And that's really amazing. There was a huge slump, as you said, that was maybe the hardest hit when we talk about IFC in particular. But the demand is growing now much more than before, probably for 2 reasons. I would say that first, people got used to the always connected experience. You know, people were isolated in lockdowns at home. And that was the way to have connectivity, business and pleasure. And now that people started moving out, travelers are expecting to be connected when they're flying as well, both the business people and consumers that are traveling for fun. They want to be connected. So that's one reason why we're seeing the IFC market grow now even quicker than before. But also there's another important factor, and that's the free Wi-Fi trend. As we all know, there's fierce competition between the airlines, and it's no longer, just, there's all kinds of freebies that are given if it's a good food and good seating and space and service, etc. But it's also about being connected. And we see that with the business and the consumer travelers. And that's another reason why we're seeing this high growth. Now, I'd like to give an example that explains, that shows from Gilat's perspective why the IFC market is definitely back. And I want to share with you that 2022 was a record year in IFC with orders of millions of dollars. And the example I'd like to give is with Intelsat Commercial Aviation, that used to be GoGo, is a customer of ours, and they have the largest global IFC network. It's really global, all over the world, and it's powered with Gilat's technology. And we're providing here a tremendous advantage to our customers in this example of protecting their past investments, because SkyEdge II-c is upward compatible to SkyEdge IV. And we're very proud of that. And that's a very important message to our customer base. And when we talk about mobility, I just want to add that there's also maritime. And we're strongly moving into that market, stronger than before with SkyEdge IV, because we're meeting the very high performance and the multi-orbit requirements. And SkyEdge IV was chosen by SES for their top cruise lines. And also another service provider has chosen SkyEdge IV to enable maritime applications. So to sum up, yes, the mobility market definitely is continuing to grow, and the pandemic is behind us, hopefully never again.
Let's hope so. Now, you are a big player in the cellular backhaul market. How do you see this market developing in this new era of satellite communication?
Yeah, cellular backhaul is a market where we've been in for a long time, and we have a huge market share. It's about 75% market share globally in 4G. And 22 again was a record year with tens of millions of dollars coming from both existing mobile network operators and new MNOs. And this is a very important point. The tier one MNOs worldwide, in Japan, in Europe, in Latin America, in North America, continue to rely on Gilat's excellent user experience. And that's a very strong message to us, in addition to the new MNOs that come on board. And what I'd like to point out is that it's not only about an increase in coverage, which of course is very important and true, but it's also applications like emergency response that cellular backhaul over satellite enables, and also a very interesting market of backup for business continuity. Now, when we talk about cellular backhaul and 4G, of course, we can't neglect 5G, which is up and coming and very much out there. However, I'd like to point out that with satellite, it's a little bit slow to be adopted. We're ready and proven for 5G, and we have shown that and demonstrated that. And some of the MNOs are now slowly moving into adopt. We don't see a massive adoption of 5G. And therefore, we believe that 4G is still going to be the highest growth potential in the next few years still with cellular backhaul over satellite for 4G. But and we certainly intend, of course, to grow our business there. But I'd like to address an important point, which I think you touched on in your question, and that is what's happening with LEO players like Starlink. We're moving into CBH. What is that going to do to your market? So certainly that can't be neglected. They're a giant and they're a disruptive force, no doubt about it. But I want to point out something important that maybe is not obvious. CBH is not a consumer market. It's very, very different. Okay, it's not as simple as a consumer market. CBH requires a high SLA, and that requires also a very high level of experience and expertise. And that's something that Gilat has gained with its tier one MNOs and tier two MNOs worldwide. And that's what is bringing about the leadership. It is very important not only to provide the high required throughput, which is also a question when we talk about the SLAs of Starlink, but it's more than that. It's the ability to integrate with the terrestrial cellular network of the MNOs. It's being able to work at level 2 and not only layer 3. It's being able to provide the required services, and that's a huge forte, I would say, that Gilat has in this market. So we definitely believe that we will continue to lead this market for years to come.
Doreet, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Pleasure as usual.